We got it! Dude, that's so cool. I'm so excited.
A 1957 Grumman Hydrofoil. And this is like nothing I've ever seen. I've been excited about this since I saw this thing. We are on our way to American Outboards to go pick up the Hydrofoil. I'm pretty sure I can make a deal with Miss Dora today. Jeremy, her grandson, who I've been talking with since we were there last, texted me and said, hey, I think she's ready to sell, and I think you can make a deal with her. So we are headed down there right now to see if we can make a deal. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have picked this up, but like, I'm a wheeler, dealer, buy, sell, trade, store junk in the woods for 10 years and forget about it kind of guy. I'm just one of those people. I just like weird, eclectic boats. Just the idea of this thing is like so sick. I've researched everything I possibly can online, which there is not much at all online about these things. I watched every hydrofoil video on YouTube. I'm trying to make a deal for a boat motor and a trailer. See how it goes. But I have a lot of questions about these hydrofoils, right? So basically, what a hydrofoil is all the worst parts about boating, all the worst parts about aviation combined, and the government, all right? This boat is a government prototype. It was some sort of like thing that Grumman built, I guess for the Vietnam War or something. I don't know what the deal was, but it was some sort of prototype, and they only made 2 of these apparently. And I have a lot of questions as to why hydrofoils never hit the civilian market. And I have theories. They don't look very safe. They don't look very dummy proof. You know, you combine boats which are not dummy proof with airplanes which are also not dummy proof, and you make that into one thing. I'm assuming it probably just didn't work that well. I don't know. The other thing is, on the papers that we have and the research, it claims that this boat does 71 miles an hour with a 40 horsepower. That is extremely fast for the water. I know it doesn't feel that fast in a car, but if you've ever been in a boat doing 70, which most people haven't, it feels like you're doing 150. To do 70 miles an hour in an aluminum can built in the 1950s sounds absolutely awesome and terrifying. The other thought that I've had is that this is just a giant government conspiracy to try to keep alien technology like hydrofoils away from the public. The public just couldn't handle it. It's like they have the other one of these, the other one of 2, because this boat is also one of 2. Okay, there's only 2 of these in the world, but my theory is they have like the other one locked up in Area 51, like with the aliens and Tupac, and we'll see you at American Outboards. My new favorite place. Here she blows.
There she is.
Oh, that's a bruiser, ain't it?
Yeah. So it does have a compression release, so it's a little easier to pull over.
Oh, it does have a compression release. So I don't know anything about this like era of outboard. First of all, what year is this thing even from?
57.
57? Oh wow, look at that. That's pretty neat.
Do you know what it needs? Like if we were to track them down?
Essentially, if you don't mind wiring up your own solenoid and everything, pretty much just a starter.
Okay.
Obviously this is choke. Is this, that's speed there, I guess?
That is
like
high and low speed adjustment. That is your high speed jet.
Okay. Might need a little work to get her free. And what is this one?
Low speed.
Okay,
just your
gotcha.
idle adjustment. A little stiff. It might need some oil, but
Yeah, it's all good. It's in pretty good shape.
yeah. Yeah.
For its age.
Oh, I was asking her what she thought would do well on it, and
This is it. That's so weird that the guy was using this thing to duck hunt out of.
Yeah,
like,
no.
wonder, was he using it with the foils to duck hunt, or was he just like using it as a regular boat? Funny they didn't take the stuff off. I'm glad it didn't, but.
Yeah.
So the other thing we were wondering about is props. So just the research we were doing on this, there's like all these different prop pitches and this and that they were talking about, getting it up and going. I mean, is that like a standard prop? Did they come in different sizes and pitches, or do you think it's not that big a deal? Or
I'd get it running.
Uh-huh.
See what it does first.
Yes.
yeah, see if it works.
That is a brass prop, so you could probably take it to like Black Dog, and they could probably rework it for a little more pitch.
Yeah, true. Good point.
We got it. Dude, that's so cool. I'm so excited.
Paperwork is done. Money is exchanged. We are coming home with the only hydrofoil I've ever seen.
Crazy.
I know. Paperwork and like blueprints and everything, and a motor, unbelievable. It's so cool. So we got it, a 1957 Grumman Hydrofoil. And this is like nothing I've ever seen, obviously. Probably like, I feel like most people haven't seen something like this. I don't know, there's probably a reason. That's like the whole theme of this whole deal, is that everybody here has their own theories as to why hydrofoils never made it to the public. market. So I'm sure we're gonna figure it out. But look at this thing. It's crazy looking. Look at the wings. The wings fold down on each side. They fold up, I guess for easy transport, right? And then they fold down. And these are supposed to clip into there. But we are having some alignment issues. I mean, this boat is 70 some years old and it's a little tweaked just from existing for so long. But these things are gnarly. It's basically like just an airplane wing underwater, I guess. And check this out. Look at these things. It's a little trim tab. I'm assuming that works like a trim tab. It's just crazy looking. This is basically like, this is what we are starting with. This is straight barn find, as it sits, as it was, period correct, everything but the trailer. Take it in, like I mean, check it out from this angle. It's just wild looking. Look at that thing. So, in theory, this boat gets up to plane. Usually in a boat, just the hull plane. So basically like most of the hull is out of the water and that's why you can go faster, right? Because there's less drag. But in this thing, when it planes out, it planes the entire boat out of the water essentially. And you're riding, the water comes to like here and you're riding on this wing that's underneath the water that's creating lift, just like an airplane wing would do in the air. This does that, but underwater. And it's supposed to ride on the two of these plus the one on the back. It's got this big giant spoiler thing on the back, which I guess is like this is pretty much the only thing that's in the water. This and like this much of the lower unit. From what we can tell, it's supposed to basically ride on the cavitation plate, and this wing is like a couple inches under the water. But like there's air from here to here. Like there's no water, there's nothing. It's just, it rides completely out of the water. The engine is a 1957, same as the boat, Evinrude Big Twin 35, all right? I have one of these, there's a wall hanger that I've never messed with before. I don't know anything about these, but they look to be relatively simple. It's period correct, and I think that we can get it running. The guys at American Outboard, they put a longer, lower unit on this boat or on this motor for us so that you can run it with the hydrofoils, and they also put a water pump on it, check the compression, and just made sure that it had a prayer of running. So one of our main goals is get this running, obviously. This is kind of neat because it's got a brass prop. Like all modern propellers, especially all modern outboard propellers are either made out of stainless or aluminum, and inboard propellers tend to be made out of bronze. And this prop, I guess, is either bronze or brass. I don't know how to tell the difference, but it's just very unusual for, like, we would never see that on a new modern engine, but back then it was the way they did it. Now this thing is just wild. The camo paint job just adds to the story, I think. So I guess the people at American Outboard, they had this boat for 20 years and it just sat in the yard. They never did anything with it. But she had bought it off some guy who, I guess his son was using it as a duck hunting boat. I would assume he was taking the hydrofoils off to use it as a duck hunting boat, but I don't know for sure because they are also spray painted camo like the boat. But it seems like a super weird thing to use for a duck hunting boat. But so the inside of the boat's pretty standard Grumman 14-foot aluminum boat. It's got nothing, basically. Steering wheel with cable steering that's actually very similar to the stick steering that I put in the other John boat. So I'm very well versed in that. Steering is locked up, but that's something that is definitely fixable. Just a really weird little boat. The drain plug is my favorite part. It has this little wing nut. This is actually super smart because I always lose drain plugs. And it's got this little hole with a little chute. And so instead of pulling a round plug out of the back, you slide this little piece over and tighten the wing nut down, and that's your drain plug, which is kind of neat. The transom probably needs to be replaced. John and Riley are already working on it. It's got little storage things.
This thing has like a buckle, you gotta get clamped in there like that.
Yeah. See, look, Riley, even the stock versions, they basically use a hog ring for the steering.
No, that's what they were saying. You just probably just hook it up right there.
Those gas lines are no good.
Yeah. Oh my God. There's no starter.
Or generator.
No starter?
Or generator. It doesn't make power. I guess it makes enough power to keep itself running, but it doesn't make any additional power.
Typically, that's how a newer one will work.
He said they just didn't have all the components to make it work. Because some of them you need a different flywheel to put a starter on if it didn't like have one and stuff. Definitely needs new fuel lines. The carb probably needs work. I mean, obviously the carb's gonna need work, but. Lordy, lordy. Clamps aren't tight.
Okay.
It's funny that you can adjust the jets on the carburetor like right here.
I know, that's the same thing my Lark had. My Lark was a great motor. It ran for a long time.
That's not terrible.
No.
It definitely, you don't get a lot of revolutions out of that though. It ain't turning much when it does.
Yeah, hopefully it's a 1 or 2 type of girl.
Yeah. These are a little froze up. We're gonna wanna take these apart before we go yanking on them because they got some slop in them and they're not. It's just crazy, everything on this engine is metal. Like now everything is made out of plastic. Everything on this thing is made out of aluminum and brass, and that's the only reason these things are still around. It's because they were made out of metal.
I actually don't see any plastic. Well, there's knobs, that's what
Yeah, not even the knobs are metal.
Are they really?
Bushings are plastic. I guess the first thing to do is to see if this engine has spark. I'm not sure how to do that, but I guess kind of like the same one. I'm sure it's points and condenser like the other motors of this era. Take the cowling off, probably get the flywheel off, clean the points, replace some fuel lines and a couple wires here, and see if we got spark. I don't really know anything about these old engines, except that they're pretty cool. Yeah, stuff has flat heads. That's very old school, but this is a compression release. So when you pull this, when you pull it hard, this thing slides over and it moves these valves, which is a compression release so that you can actually pull it over, because it's basically like pulling over a Harley engine. It's a big twin cylinder. They call it the big twin. So this would be very hard to start without the compression release, even just to pull over. That's just how they did it back then. In 1957, the popular alternative to an engine was rowing or sailing. So even if it was hard to start, it was better than rowing or sailing. So now we're used to being able to hit a key and have everything fire up and run smoothly and be quiet and whatever else. In 1957, they were excited to not row or sail. That's my theory with these engines. But they're pretty simple for the most part. It's got a carburetor, got a flywheel, got compression, hopefully, and 2 cylinders. I feel like we should be able to figure out how to make it work. And it's in remarkably good shape for its age. I mean, it's really not beat up. It doesn't look like it's been ran a whole lot, which is either a really good thing or a really bad thing. When things are that old, it's a little bit irrelevant. We have a period correct boat, period correct motor, and a period correct guy working on it too.
This is even a little bit before my time, maybe before I was born.
We do have some crusty wires and grounds that are no longer connected that, like, I don't, what the hell is this?
I don't know.
Is it like an electric fuel pump?
No, there's no way.
But here's a ground that's crusted. Don't make no sense, man.
What?
It didn't come off of there. Uh-oh, another one. Oh boy, we lost another one. Shoot.
It's FUBAR now. No, FUBAR stands for, right?
Oh yeah, that's a common term. This is some sort of linkage. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Great.
Now we got big freaking problems.
Okay, tiny spring.
Will it ever go back together?
I don't know. This thing is weird, dude.
I know, that carburetor.
That carburetor's got like a solenoid plunger on the bottom for something. I wonder if that's for electric choke. It's alien technology.
And I think that's what this is. I don't think this is a fuel.
70 years
I don't think
ago.
this is a fuel pump because there's only one fuel line connected to it. And this other
I'm not even sure that's fuel. Does this thing work on a vacuum? Does it have vacuum lines? Are we
okay,
stupid?
okay, I see.
You think that's a vacuum?
No, it needs a metal fuel tank and it pressurizes the fuel tank. So look, so you have 2 fuel lines going right here,
no.
and then the other one goes to the crankcase. So the crankcase pressurizes the fuel tank
that pushes the fuel into this thing. So this is not as simple as I was expecting.
Well,
like you can't just hook it up to a regular tank.
We can. They're testing. We'll just have to squeeze it constantly. But we might have to make a run back to that place, and because I saw they had the old school tanks.
Dang, I'm surprised you didn't mention that to us.
He probably didn't even know.
You probably didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
One of these lines also goes to the crankcase.
Yeah.
We could, if only we had these little magic little glass boxes that we could type things into that would give us answers immediately.
We're not going to do that.
That's bizarre. That sure looks like a diaphragm fuel
It
pump
does,
to me.
but if you look at it, it really doesn't go anywhere.
It doesn't
Don't
go.
impact that thing, but if you put your hand on the back, there's nothing there.
Don't do that.
This is not.
It's not going to move. If it does,
Yes,
it'll
it
be a
is.
little bit.
Oh, you're right.
Yep.
Again, this is the second time today he's been right.
I know, it's annoying.
It is a little annoying, isn't it?
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
All right, so you pull this handy dandy little thing and you can get right to the points. And the points look actually awesome in this motor. But the concerning thing is that there's a little piece of cracked plastic that's laying down in there. I'm not exactly sure, you can't even barely see it, but it's like, it's sizable. Didn't come off the screwdriver, so it's always good to just pull them, check it out, see what it looks like. This motor is so weird because it really doesn't look like it's been run much, but it has a different head. So clearly somebody ran it enough to have to put another head on it, maybe overheated it or something, I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. Well, we'll see what it looks like. North Penn Marine, Lansdale, Pennsylvania, service 7965. 1965 was the last time they had this flywheel on.
Close up on that.
Yeah, it says 7965.
Does it make sense why I make you write your the dates and the oil filters?
That's crazy.
Yeah, I have to change oil.
We should call them.
That would be funny if this was on business.
Hey, do you have parts for this? It says here that you were the last guy. Oh no, that coil does not look like it's conducive to making spark. This does not look like it's going to make spark. I don't know, maybe it will, but it's a little destroyed. That's like one of the coils. This one looks like an aftermarket coil, which probably was replaced in 65. But you might have to figure something out for this one. It may work, I don't know, although this looks like insulator. All right, so this is the coil, and it's not in great shape. But I do actually think that I have another one of these motors up the street at my buddy Kyle's house, so I'm probably gonna go up there and rob it for parts.
Yeah, I know, it's in a good spot.
Oh, now it's getting covered in shit.
How are you gonna give something to somebody and then take it?
Remember when I was moving out of my house?
Consider this an impound lot. You gotta pay the fee to get it out of here. At least $50. That's for the amount of years I've stored that.
It's like $5 a year.
Yeah, that's a really good deal.
Squirrel nest on this thing. This thing was inside in mint condition.
Well, you should have not been homeless.
Storage here. Well, I'll sue you for damages.
Oh yeah, now that you hit the big time, now you want to be all, you know.
Put the dog on him. Put the dog on him. Get him.
Sick him. I need this junk.
Riley, I bet you this one has very similar parts.
Oh, it's got the hookup we need.
Yeah.
I'll replace these with other ones. You won't even know the difference.
You can have the parts out of this, but I need this. I need the look of it.
Got it.
He needs the look of all this.
It's gonna look stupid. Look how like symmetric everything is.
We'll just cut the stand right there. We'll cut the stand.
You are being very short-sighted right now.
You are.
Classic Kyle. There's a solution for this that I've already come up with on the way here. I already knew the solution before I even called you.
Well, you know how to swindle your way out of it and everything.
Where do you think I learned that from, huh?
Me.
Weird. Huh?
Should have never.
How many are you taking?
I'm not taking it.
Oh, you're spreading them out. No, this one's nice. It's not even locked up.
Yeah, that was the only outboard that I actually bought. That's on the stand.
Well, that one.
We need a spare cowling, Ryan?
You can actually have that.
Oh, thank you for letting me have my own stuff back.
That's mine, you idiot.
This isn't yours?
Yes, it is. I bought it for $5. You nimrod. You're gonna make me swear. Oh, see what they're doing? They're stealing Dad's stuff.
You made me do this.
Well,
we ain't pulling it out now.
Just
it's involved. No, I'm not doing it now.
Just do it now, because I'm never gonna see it again. I know how you operate. Stop stealing our stuff. I need that for my college fund.
Now Roman's never going to see college.
Yeah, thanks. He was going to go to Harvard because of that, but now he's going to have to go to community college. Thanks. He's going to wind up painting cars like his dad. You really want that? I swear he has never acted like that to anyone.
He only barks at you, too.
I
know. He came over to me and started licking my fingers. What's his name?
Lucky.
Lucky Strike.
Yeah, exactly.
Get him, Lucky Strike. Yeah. He's stealing your outboards.
The other thing we got to do is source a fuel tank, because we have learned that the fuel system is a lot different on these old outboards. So instead of having a traditional fuel pump, it has a line that comes off of the crankcase with crankcase pressure that comes out of here, and it pressurizes the fuel tank in the boat, and then the crankcase pressure inside the fuel tank pushes fuel into the motor, which is pretty ingenious, but also very different than anything I've ever seen. So I actually did find one of these on Facebook Marketplace. I'm gonna try to pick it up tonight. Look at that, you did it, holy cow. I had all the faith in the world in you.
You didn't even need my help. I feel useless.
Get that out of here. Oh, snap, boy.
Exactly the same.
They look like what we need.
The plate is different, but the coils look the same. The same.
Did it just pop off?
No.
What I could do is replace these fuel lines. Problem is these are old as hell too, and you run ethanol through those, they're gonna disintegrate in a month. I need to just go get a roll of fuel line. We're always robbing fuel line off of other stuff. It's like 5 times used fuel line.
Is this stainless or is that brass?
You're not welding it back
Brass?
together if that's what you're thinking you're doing.
Braze it.
Oh God.
I mean, that would be.
That is a tricky repair right there.
Yeah. These fuel lines are in pretty good shape. But I think we may replace them. There's a couple hoses, not many, but we don't have like any diagram, anything. With hoses, it's tricky, so I'm just going to replace them and label them as I replace them and do them one at a time, because there's some guys that could just do the whole thing in one shot. I am not the guy. I'm the kind of guy that needs to replace lines one at a time and label. Carb.
Good hot spark, yeah.
I gave you.
I did something right.
You did something right. Yep.
Dang, boy.
Blue spark.
Dang, boy.
Hold on.
You did it, Riley.
Pat myself on the back.
I didn't give you high odds of success on that.
Nice. Riley took the ignition system off of the old motor that I forgot that I had, that we robbed back from Kyle's house. Took this ignition system, took them all on the bench, and took them all apart and built one. We're becoming experts in points and condenser ignition. Now we know the engine's gonna run. We have the carbs off. We're gonna throw those in an ultrasonic cleaner, and we got a lot more to do on this hydrofoil before it hits the water. But John doesn't think it's gonna work at all. A lot of people don't think it's gonna work at all. I think it's gonna work a little bit. It's just sketchy. We'll see. Many questions.